G'day and welcome to another video review from Chronicle Chamber. Today we are releasing the new soft cover album, which is from Free, which was initially released at Sydney Supernova 2019. It is titled The Sword of Caliph. It is written by Gabrielle Enriquez and then also written by Giancarlo, who's an Italian artist. You can see some of the credentials there. Soft cover album basically means, well, it's almost like a trade paperback, but a trade paperback basically is collecting stuff that's already been published, whereas soft cover album is kind of like the first release. So I've got a couple of other soft cover albums. So first of all, this is a trade paperback, but it's also with a soft cover album. And as you can see, that's that thick. This one, The Sword of Caliph, is a little bit thinner. And it's got 90 odd pages and it's cover to back with pages. The other one that most fans will probably be used to are either the Phantom Men soft cover albums or an Asterix or a Tintin soft cover album as well. As you can see, slightly different in sizes, but everyone's a little bit different. So that's kind of gives you a bit of an idea what a soft cover album is. Now let's actually review the comic. It is a great story. Glenn Ford in his podcast, episode 121, talked a lot about this. So listen to that podcast for a bit of background information. Apparently it was initially rejected by King Features, and then after some editing was reassessed and was released. Now first of all, let's talk about the cover. I must admit, the cover does not excite me as much. It's kind of like a pastel painted style, where inside you've got something you expect to see from kids. The style, sort of cartoony, not quite as a kid Phantom, which some people may still struggle to get used to, but it's kind of a mixture between the two. But I wouldn't call it a kid's comic with the tones that we're dealing with. We're dealing with terrorism, we're dealing with people getting killed, quite graphically. So I think that was the reason why it was had to be edited before it was published, because it's dealing with situations like 9/11, which is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. In my opinion, it does a great job. It's not for kids, but it does a great job for an average reader like us. It doesn't glorify it. It doesn't take sides between the race wars or the religious wars or anything like that. It's a great fast-paced story. What makes it a great fast-paced story is that you're actually dealing with two stories at once. Very similar as the DC miniseries, which was a set of 4, which was done by Joel Orlando and Peter David, I believe it was, from memory, where you've got two Phantoms dealing with the same story or the same elements at the same time. Brilliant. This is brilliant. Now what they do to help differentiate what story, you've kind of got the hue colours, like the style of the colour, but then you've also got the yellow boxes and then you've got the purple boxes. On a couple of pages it does get a little bit confusing, because like it swaps between them on the same page, rather than a new page is kind of like the 6th Phantom or the 21st Phantom. Like for instance, this one here, top 3 panels is the 21st Phantom, then we go to the 6th Phantom. I think only in 2 places, one on page 36 and on, I believe it was on this page back here, does it actually not have the text boxes to identify what is what. So for instance, this one here, you've got one panel of the 21st Phantom and then it goes back up here. So it can be a little bit jumpy, but if you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. And to be honest, Free do explain it in here, which is brilliant. So if you actually read the information, like what's on the back and stuff like that, that will help you a lot. Overall, it is a great book. It's a fast-paced book. It sets up a baddie that we have not seen before, but we are likely to see again. And I look forward to the next edition, because I thought he was going to be the main bad guy, but maybe he's not, and maybe this one is the head one and he's just a henchman or a lackey. So fingers crossed we do get to see some more. I do like the fact that we've got some sketches here and stuff like that, but it gives you just the comic. It gives you just the story, which is good, because this is 90 pages, it's fast paced, we want the story, we might not get the next part for another 6 months to another year, if we do at all, so we want to actually get the story, get as much of the story as possible. A couple of little things is towards the start of it, ends on page 40 and goes from about here onwards. It is a long and complicated journey to Narrapara from the deep woods, through the streets of Morristown, then by sea, and finally over the desert by camel. In normal traditional Phantom lore, where Giancarlo is actually located is actually in, I guess, the jungles of the Phantom. He doesn't have to go from the middle of Africa all the way to the northern Africa, as it kind of indicates in here. And then on the back, towards the end, it kind of feels like that Giancarlo's going for a Sunday picnic to the Skull Cave, and the trip's very, very quick, where this trip took weeks and months. So a little bit of continuity that was not quite right. Another one that says here, through the streets of Morristown. It was not called Morristown back at the Sixth Phantom. So just a couple of little things like that, but we will let go. Art style was brilliant. Art style I really, really like. The flow of the adventure is great. It's got good cliffhangers. I'm glad we're seeing it. I'm glad that Frew have done, and the writers and the creator team has done what is necessary to ensure that this is published for Phantom readers. Even with a couple of the small little things, the cover, and maybe a couple of other things, I would still give it a good 4 to 4.5 good marks out of 5. 90 odd pages, $20. Frew did say that they were going to try and get this in newsagents, but if you can't, you'll be able to get it online at Frew, at thephantomcomic.com.au, which is the Frew website. So I hope you get this issue, because it is a great issue to read. I enjoyed it a lot. Until next time, thank you for listening, and happy phantoming. See ya.